Yo, welcome everybody to the Legacy Cannabis Podcast, baby. I'm the highest host, Adam Milcho, out right here at the Respect My Region studio. And we're going to start a whole new series right here for the North American Weed Tour. That's right. Respect My Region's doing a North American Weed Tour where we're going to be doing tons of content, tons of podcasts, tons of reviews. And I'm excited for the first show of the Legacy Cannabis Podcast to happen with the CEO of Respect My Region. Right here. You guys could see him sitting next to me. He's a producer. He's been in the cannabis space for over a decade. He's done the whole transition from content and, supplying the community with amazing products to transitioning to the legal side and creating legal money with cannabis. And I'm talking about the one, the only Mitch Pfeifer, baby. Hi.
What up, Adam? How you living, bro?
Oh, just chilling, higher than you, hanging out. It's July, so we dabbing a lot.
I dig it. I dig it. I'm a baby dabber, but I dabble from time to time, man. I fuck with the rosin.
Well, I appreciate you joining us and taking time. And anyone who's listening, if you could hear us or watching us wherever you're at in the world, we appreciate you for hanging out. If you're in the car, or at home, or in the grow room, or dispensary, or chilling in the garage, smoking with your homies, or whatever you're doing, we appreciate y'all because you can never get your time back. And we're gonna make the best out of it right now and learn some things. Are we ready?
Hey.
Are you smoking right now?
I got the bong. I don't got anything rolled up, man. I'll hit something here in a minute.
All right. We gotta make sure we're staying high though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I keeping the THC levels at a cool little balance.
Being that this is the Legacy Cannabis Podcast, and legacy is a term that this community, this culture has been using for like the pre-legal days. If you've been around before it went legal, wherever you're at in your state or in the country, it was those that had balls, those that ran the risk, lived the life of producing or showing product that still is actually federally illegal. And you were out here making it happen. Do you remember your first experience with cannabis?
Like a lot. It's funny. Like on my podcast, I'll be interviewing people, kind of like, when's your first time you smoked? And I feel like the overwhelming majority of people, at least that I interview, I tend to have the same story around like 15 to 16. Is when I first smoked, maybe a little bit younger.
And it's usually family. Is yours family?
No, I was the oldest, and
Okay.
none of my cousins were really with the shit. So like, I was definitely out there blazing new trails, if you will, in the family.
Were you like but like what, you were 15, so how were you as a student? Were you like a good kid growing up? How did you get
Yeah,
exposed?
I was cool. I was always, I was like a 3.2, so I wasn't terrible, but I wasn't on honor roll. I wasn't getting, anything. I was in a couple AP classes, but I didn't, I was always like getting like the C in like the super high level math class because I just didn't really apply myself. I didn't do any sports though. I skateboarded and I made beats. So even before I was smoking, I was doing all the stereotypical stoner shit.
You were a stoner, a stereotypical stoner before you knew what the stoner was.
Yeah, I remember teachers and like friends, parents and stuff definitely like, they didn't trust me. They thought I was like way before I even did like bad stuff in quotations. Like I was pegged at that, So it was like
You were
by
the
the
bad
time
influence.
where you're like, oh, smoking weed, what would that do to my reputation? Like that wasn't even ever a thought because like everyone already thinks I smoke weed, so like whatever.
So you were like, all right, y'all already think I'm the bad influence. Let me try this weed stuff.
I'll give you what you want.
Yeah, I want to make it happen. So your first experience was like 15, 16, that's like high school, right?
Probably 15, probably 14, 15 when I first smoked weed. Yeah.
And it was a bong joint, blunt.
Probably, yeah, blunt and a swisher.
So and then was it that moment that you were like, this is it, or was there like a couple times where you had to
Nah,
smoke weed?
yeah, I'm definitely one of those stories when I first smoked weed. I don't feel like I got high my first time. And actually, to be honest, my first time could have been out of pop can. One of those first times was, definitely swishers, and probably pop cans back then because we were young. Nobody really owned a piece. Um,
Was it a grape swisher?
Probably
Blueberry.
grape, or I was weird. I like the strawberry swisher for whatever.
The
I
pink
was like
one.
the off-brand dude. Like, I never wanted to be like anyone else, so I had to have like the flavor no one else wanted.
That's right. So here you are, 15, smoking it. You're just like, all right, it's cool. when did you like start realizing that like cannabis is gonna be part of your life? Because you out here got Respect My Region, doing a whole bunch of content for with cannabis, with music, with just lifestyle and culture. When did that whole thing happen?
So I mean, a couple years later, like when I graduated from like being a consumer to that point where I think anybody that consumes like contemplates like, well, man, if I buy a little bit more and I sell a little bit to the people I'm already smoking with, then I can smoke for free or cheap, right? Like, and so started that whole journey of exploring that, and a little ways down that road of like turning into doing that more than just for smoking. Smoking for free is now an added benefit. That's not the main motivation of doing what you're doing at that point. um I didn't necessarily think that I would be doing it forever. Like my whole thing was like, and how I started RMR was like, I need to take the money out of this and do something that's like more sustainable for the future. But at a certain point, I finally like was like, I contemplated and I didn't, but I contemplated getting like a weed leaf or something tattooed on me because I was like, this has such a big part of my life. Even if just being around this, what we now call like a legacy operator, even just being around that for a couple years stint is all that my relationship is with it. It's springboarded and done so much for me in my life. I feel like I hadn't, but I'd contemplate like I could put a permanent mark on my body to like commemorate just my relationship with the plant, if you will. And that was probably like early 20s.
Yeah, I feel like once you learn like the benefits of cannabis and all the perks that it comes from this plant, and being like an entrepreneur and having a passion for it and having more to your life than just weed. Like you love music, you've been produced. You said you produce music. You've
Mm-hmm.
worked with some artists. I heard you sent beats to random artists that you didn't know, like Kendrick Lamar before he blew up, or
Yeah.
like Drake. Like you were sending all these beats out. What was that? What were you just had a little beat machine in high school, just making beats? What
Yeah.
was it?
I had the MPC and the records, so I was sampling vinyl and making records. I grew up in in a small community that was real like country, right? Like very agricultural, like literally country. They
Farming.
listened to country music, but it was in the country. And obviously being
You
like a
you
hip
you were a
hop head and
farmer?
making what's up?
You were a farmer?
I was not. I was
Okay.
not.
There's no
Yeah, I
shame in
don't.
farming, dude. You
No, no,
growing
I don't.
eggplants and
I've
shit, it's
never
all good.
farmed. I never rode a horse. I've never been hunting. But I mean, everybody I grew up around, that was like all they did. But I
Right.
somehow just like never did any of that stuff.
All right. So you were just in with the MPC and the music and then making beats.
Out in the middle, I damn near felt like in the middle of a field. Like nothing around. And so the internet was definitely like that was how, especially back then, there wasn't no YouTube. So even how to learn an MPC, you had like an actual manual, like a Bible-sized book.
Yeah, yeah, the
And
booklet.
then you could go to like message boards. There wasn't even like Reddit or whatever. There's like message boards that look like Reddit. And so
Yeah.
started like fucking with like these message boards to meet other producers, really to just learn like, okay, how do I use this equipment I have? Okay, how do you get better when you don't know? There's no studio I could go to, no one I could pull up on to like show me or watch. There was like
I ain't trying to
literally
pay
even if
hundreds of dollars for fucking classes
yeah,
and
I mean
shit.
there was no, you couldn't even have rented studio time where I lived to just rent it and learn,
Oh
right?
yeah,
It just
you in the
wasn't even
country.
there. So I started seeking the internet, and then at a certain point you get a little bit better and start connecting with people. And then so I was like, let me use the internet to find, making a beat is great, but you want to make a song, you need an artist. And again, same thing. I didn't really have any artists where I grew up. So just started fucking with the internet, and it was crazy. Like AOL Instant Messenger connected me with like a lot of like Dipset's crew. And like
Welcome.
yeah, like yeah, the old
You got
AOL, man.
mail.
I trade beats with a rapper for screen names from rappers that they knew that were basically bigger than them. Like I'll give you a free beat if you tap me in with 3 rappers. And I was just like trading beats for screen names and kind of worked up a nice little collection of screen names. And throughout the years, we moved away from AOL to MySpace, and then like email became a thing, and like whether it was sending beat CDs in the actual mail or then eventually sending MP3s via email, I definitely got like an impressive repertoire of some artists. I definitely didn't work with a lot of them, but it was cool to like be able to talk to the guys like Drake, before anybody knew who he was.
You weren't uploading your beats on like Napster and LimeWire and shit like
Nah.
that and
Sound
share.
SoundClick. I don't know if you know that one. That was pre SoundCloud. Like that's old ass head. People over 30 that did music back then, they'll know SoundClick. Nobody else probably does.
So here you are, you're making beats, you're smoking weed, you're chilling, you're skating. I think we share the similar story. I started when I started smoking weed. I bought the eighth, and then I sold the 3 grams to my homies,
Yep,
kept the half gram, smoked
yep.
that shit with them because we were homies. Then make a couple bucks, and then the eighths turns into ounces, turns into half pounds. You end up meeting the fucking grower in the mountain, and he gives you the packs, and you're like, oh shit. Is that like how you started getting into the cannabis? Is because I know you touched on that a little bit, but is that kind of how you
Yeah.
started?
Absolutely. Yeah. Started with an eighth or a quarter ounce or something similar to you, like super, like $50 out the pocket, break it
Yeah,
down, make 75, do
from
that
the
another
homie or the
time.
family member that you got the accidental plug all of a sudden that you found, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, and again, growing up where I grew up at was a very small, isolated community. So to build the trust of local growers, it took a lot. You really had to because it was a small town with a very heavy police presence, and so it wasn't like sometimes like now, right? Like you go to LA or the big city, it's like there's so much shit going on. Even when it was a little bit more illegal, weed could kind of fall under the radar because so much shit's going on. Like where I live, nothing was going on. So
And it wasn't as
it,
easy as it is now. You could just go on social media and there's like fucking
yeah,
public trappers that are like, here, hit me up. I got everything you need. And they got pictures and there's like all these apps that you could send money. But the late 1900s, early 2000s, it wasn't like that. You had to it was real life. You had to create your clientele.
bro, you're not like to get a solid plug, like not even a middleman to get a plug, like that could literally take you 6 months of putting in work, of earning trust to be like, all right, Adam now fucks with me. Now he's gonna introduce me to the dude. And once I get a little trust there, then maybe he'll, you know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
takes a minute for someone to like even let you into that house. You know what I mean? Like, so if you want to plug, like even while you're building your business, like I don't know, it took a lot. It took a lot to get a plug and to work, not just work your way up the chain, but work your way into people's trust. And obviously, like so many things in that mountain, like one person could get pinched, and all of a sudden, anybody who's not super on the inner circle is just cut off, right? So it's like you can work and almost crack into that circle, and then something outside of your control happens where it's like, yep,
Poof.
or maybe
Gone.
they got knocked or whatever, and then
Yeah.
I've been building with this team forever, and now that shit don't even exist no more, and now I got to go get some work from whoever and go try and work my way up another little situation.
Yeah. Or like you hear a story of them getting hit up because a lot of people, especially these days, this is called the Legacy Cannabis Podcast. A lot of people don't understand how risky it was and how there used to be a task force just for cannabis. They used to kick down doors in dispensaries. They used to follow you home after you left the dispensary. If they saw you walking in with like a duffel bag or a backpack and you didn't look like a regular patient, they would follow you and track you and they would build up cases against people. And it was a lot of people were in the closet of growing, especially a lot of the great growers, a lot of the ones that have amazing cultivars are still kind of low key in the closet because the growers I feel don't get as much praise as they should get. A lot of these middlemen and brand creators are just kind of not showing love to where it's at. And I want to give a shout out real quick to all the growers out there.
Mm.
If you do a 1 plant, 5 plants, 10 plants, 100 plants, warehouses, mountainsides, indoor, outdoor tents, fucking backyards, I don't give a fuck because without you guys, none of us will be here. None of us
I
would
agree.
be consuming this culture. Would respect my region wouldn't be here because I know RMR started because you wanted to showcase your hood because the PNW wasn't really getting a lot of life, wasn't getting a lot of love, and you're like, yo, I want my region to get respected. Let's start it. And now it's branched out to the whole North American weed tour, and you're just showcasing everything from across the continent, dude, East Coast to West Coast.
100%, man. Cannabis is growing, literally and figuratively.
And it's getting more accepted, nationwide and worldwide. I know there's been a lot of new countries that are legalizing it, and people are now traveling all over the world to get their brands out there. But what made you start RMR? Was it like documenting the culture, showcasing the cannabis, showcasing music, lifestyle? What was like the
Yeah, I
first
mean,
part?
it's kind of weird. So when I came up with the name, probably a year before I came, and I'll never forget this. I was living at this house. I was living out in Portland for a minute, working out of a studio, and that was where my plug was at. So I moved a little bit closer to the plug to just hang out. Shout out my guy R1. I
True
won't give the full
passion.
name.
I'm changing my
Uh,
life for this shit.
and just build that relationship. But anyways, I was sitting on the couch and I was just thinking, like, I always say I'm a Rockefeller baby. Like, growing up making music, like I looked up to not just Jay, but what they did with Rockefeller. And it seemed like if you wanted to go music route and be an entrepreneur, you needed music, you needed clothing, you needed to like diversify and monetize all the different aspects of the culture, whatever you're. So I was doing music, and obviously I was doing cannabis, but cannabis back then was, I didn't document anything. I definitely didn't talk. I didn't even talk about the shit with my homies on phone or in the text because of what we were doing. But cannabis was actively involved with like around everything we were doing, and we were doing music, and I was throwing shows. And at a certain point, I just was like, I had played the role of like being a producer. My role was always behind the scenes, and I always worked with an artist, and I wanted to get an artist on and like let like them get famous, and I just be like in support and around them, right? Like, I don't want to be a front runner or have a brand or be a face of anything. That wasn't my thing. And uh, unrelated to the cannabis, my guy who I'd been building with for years caught a case. The feds actually snatched him out of my house. That's a story for another day. But I didn't know what to do.
Because
I
of
put so
cannabis?
many. What's up?
Because of cannabis?
No, well, it wasn't because of
Okay.
cannabis. But
Okay.
when I thought they were there, I thought they were there for me. So for 3 minutes of my life, while my house was surrounded by federal agents with machine guns and shit, I at least had that 3 minute process of like, I'm going to jail for a
Uh,
couple years.
the
And
butthole was puckered, the stomach was
yeah, once
empty,
I
and the
figured
heart
out it
was
wasn't for
beating.
me, I had this relief, but confusion and sadness for some, my man's who was
Yeah.
right next to me. But yeah,
But the
anyway, that's
blood
that's
was
a
just
whole
like,
nother.
oof.
Yeah,
Yes.
one of
I
the
know that
craziest
shit.
emotional offerings I've ever had to deal with is
My palms are sweating right now. If you've
yeah,
been in a situation like that, you know exactly that
yeah.
fucking that PTSD shit right now, dude.
Pray to
Oh my
God I
god.
don't ever see fucking feds again.
Ooh,
In
definitely.
that situation. But my guy who I've been building with for a couple years, like he went to prison and we were waiting his trial, and we didn't really know. And my shit, like everything I'd been doing was in support of this person, and that person wasn't there anymore. So it was like, what the fuck do I even do? Like,
Right.
I'm not an artist. He's an artist. So I go find another artist. Like, what is and so I finally was like, man, I need something for me. Like, it doesn't have to be me or my name, but something that if somebody else goes down or gets out the picture, like it doesn't, all the ship doesn't stop, right? I can put the ship on my back a little bit and not have to be dependent on someone else, if you will. And so I'd had this name in mind for a while, and it was really birthed off of the Pacific Northwest not having outlets for culture and music. Like, there's a lot of dope shit that goes on up here, but we don't have the platform, we don't have the spotlight, we don't have the record labels, we don't have that celebrity influence that a New York and the LA and somewhat closer areas, surrounding areas are afforded. And so it was really kind of birthed on like, yeah, we want to shine light, but we feel the sense of pride of where we're from. And I know other people feel that same sense of pride. And so we started with clothing, but it was really kind of just built on this, more on a feeling, if that makes sense, than a physical product.
Yeah, I remember like the PNW. You guys were known for like more like the berry flavors, the sweeter ones. You guys had like shishka berries and
Yep.
stickleberries and all these. And being from LA, home of like the OG and like the gassier terps, and then going up to the PNW for all the events that were happening and getting exposed to all these new like cultivars and flavors. I was like, okay, you guys have your own little vibe up here. It's a cool little vibe, and it was great. And building a platform to represent your neighborhood and the culture up there, because we all, we are a united state
Mm-hmm.
of America. I mean, that's what they call us. We're united, but we all have our own cultures and lifestyles from where we are. And the cannabis scene is different. It's still common with our love for the flower and what it does for us, but we all have different ways to consume it and different cultivars that we're about. And for you to create this is great for your culture. And now that you're starting some new shit in 2022 right now, and just so you know, we do stream these live on multiple platforms. So if you are watching live, it is 4:20 right now, Pacific Standard Time. So if you got it, light it up. I've been smoking this whole time. I've had a blunt in my hand. If you just listen to the podcast, if you're watching live, you see me change the weather the whole time. I am the highest host, so it's only natural to stay high while we make it happen. And we are chilling with Mitch Pfeifer, not related to Michelle at all, right?
No relation. No
Did you
relation.
do the ancestry of me or 23, whatever?
Man, I have actually. That's a good. Maybe I am, man. I haven't done it.
If
So I
she's
might.
done it and you do it and you guys are related, it will tell you like, oh, you are like fourth cousin. Here's the list of people related to you.
That'd actually be lit, man. I need to do that now.
What? So
Michelle.
as we all get higher for this West Coast 420, what's coming up with Mitch? What's coming up in the future with Respect My Region? I know we were talking about a lot of projects happening. This, of course, being the first of a new series of the North American Weed Tour, the Legacy Cannabis Podcast, with me, your host, the highest, iLL, dude. But what else we got coming up?
Man, we got a bunch of different shows. We're gonna be doing a ton of product reviews. I already filmed a couple. I think you're gonna be doing some. I know Joey will be doing some. We got a couple reviewers in a couple different markets. I'm excited to get back on the road here. I'm looking forward to the next month and a half being at home. It's finally sunny out here in Washington, so I'm gonna do my camping and kick it with the family. But as we move a little bit into this campaign, be a lot of travel. I know, looking at my flight, my travel, I'm gonna be out in like Massachusetts, kind of all over the state, down in Vegas, back down. I'll be down there for Hall of Flowers and some stuff in California, messing with y'all, man. Yeah, so really just traveling and showcasing, cannabis culture, business, and products across the country. Like I said, cannabis is growing, literally, and we're just looking to grow alongside the industry, man. Cover it all.
What are you most excited? Like, because I know you started Respect My Region like 2011-ish. And that was kind of the same time that like the whole 710 thing kind of birthed, with the term coming into this community and coining it for the dabbers. What's like the craziest thing you've seen being from the whole legacy, side of it, and trapping and creating your brand to the compliance side of things? What's like the craziest thing or the most interesting thing that has happened in your eyes?
Man, I don't necessarily know about crazy, but like for me, like I'm one of those people where like I just literally like it, not even to be like corny, I just am like in awe all the time that this shit's like legal, like for so long I thought like
still.
I mean, yeah, but it's like cannabis will be legal in my lifetime. Like I believe that, but I didn't believe it'd be like this soon. And like I just never envisioned it looking like, you know what I mean? I just feel like some people, I talked to Burner and he was like, oh yeah, I always knew. And I'm like, all right, maybe you did, Mr. Visionary, but I'm not disrespecting him. But I'm just like, I just couldn't picture. Maybe I lacked the vision, but I just didn't picture it looking like this. Like I didn't even see the route to even start being able to picture that, if that makes sense. Like it seems so
Right.
far-fetched. So like it's just crazy to be making money off the plant legally, to be able to be on here and talk about the legacy, for legacy operator to be like a keyword. Back then it was like, I'm just trying not to catch a felony,
Right.
like,
No face, no case.
So like just being able to do that and like have that platform where we can go on the internet and talk about the shit we were doing back in the day when we were trying to do the exact opposite back then. And then now being able to find community, because even still, like back then, like the trust, right? Like if even going back to what we were talking about earlier, the trust to get a grower, like you wanted the least amount of people knowing what you were doing. And the more you search for a plug or a grower, they wanted even less people to know about what they were doing than you did. So it was such a closed off community of like, not just trust, but like intentionally not trying to make friends, not let anybody know your business, not to tell anyone what you're doing. And now that it's legal, you find so many people that share that same thing. And I think it makes like a tighter bond, because we all went through like, I don't know, like, I'm not saying like, oh, depressed and lonely, but lonely, right? Like one of these things that we're most passionate about, we like can't talk about. We have to like secretively find community, and now we don't have to. And I just think that's like such a fucking cool thing, man.
Hell yeah, just the acceptance of cannabis, and it just goes with the more now that society's accepting it more, the more knowledge we're spreading about it, we're taking away this negative stigma that's been, brainwashing everybody with the propaganda that they've been pushing with these movies and the whole movement back then. But we got this newer generation, we got the internet, everyone's educating each other, they're finding medical benefits about it. And to see, you know, RMR is gonna be fucking showcasing all that with the North American Weed Tour is coming, and I'm getting the hand signals that the show's almost coming to an end, and I'm getting to my roach too, so that's kind of good timing. But where can people follow? What can people see? Where can people keep up with Respect My Region? You want to plug it up? Let them know.
Respectmyregion.com website. First and foremost, we're putting out new content, unique stories every single day of the week, and have been
Let's
doing so
go.
for years. Every single day of the week, unique, non-syndicated content. No disrespect to anyone else doing it any other way, but the model we do is very hard, and we do it every single day. So I'm gonna highlight that over and over because it's very important.
Well, I
You can
don't think
find us
people
all.
understand how much work that is, though. Like, people be like, "Oh, you get paid to smoke weed. Oh, that's fucking the life, dude." But that's, you know, you gotta fucking stay original, stay relevant. You gotta keep it exciting. You gotta work with a lot of brands. A lot of brands are, how it is dealing with people, dog. Some
Yep.
people are real easy and cool to deal with, and some people are like, "Fuck, I gotta get on the phone with this fool and deal with this client real quick." So, like, putting out content every day and booking guests, getting products, that takes work, dude. So I mean, respect to you and creating that and building a great team to make that happen, because I know how much work it is with content. So shout out to RMR for
Thank,
making it happen and
thank
letting me be
you.
a part of the journey, dude.
Yeah, and thank you for being a part. And yeah, big shout out to the team. They do shit. They do a lot more than me, and like you said, bro, it's tough. Like it's a lot of things. Whether you're in art or content, like everybody's about to. I'm about to start. Oh, I got this thing I'm working on, or oh, I'm taking a break and I'm gonna come back. And like, meanwhile, there's people out there that whether they rise, they fall, they're hot, they're cold, the game's in their favor, the world's working against them. Yeah, they're out there
Grinding.
chipping away every single day, bro. And there's a big separation of the people who go every day than the people that are about to, or the people that like, I'm gonna take a break and get back to it. Like that's a luxury I don't know much about, man.
Look, consistency is key, dog, and that's a great thing to like let people know. You just got to stay active. The shit might not happen overnight, shit might not happen after a couple of years, but staying consistent. Winners never quit and quitters never win. So that's it, dude. What would be something you would tell anybody that is trying to get into this before we head out? That is, I'm sure you get messages. I get messages all the time, like, trying to get in the weed space. This is my passion. Let me work for you. What can I do to fucking get in the space? What would be your number one?
My number one thing for anyone trying to do anything is just start. Just start. Back to that consistent thing. I'm working on, I'm refining. If you work about try to figure or like try and focus on having the perfect or the best, or I gotta have this before I do that, you're never gonna fucking do it. Just start doing it. You can refine. You're gonna suck the first one, maybe the first 100. So get those out of the way and worry about getting better after you're already moving, rather before you ever start. So no matter what you're doing that. But then if you're looking to get into cannabis, man, internships are pretty easy to get because everyone wants free labor. Bud tender jobs are pretty easy to get. Salesman jobs are pretty easy to get because they're high turnover. Get one of these free jobs or easy, shitty jobs that people don't want, and use that to build an understanding and build relationships, because those two things are intangibles that you can get at a very easy level and take with you back to that thing. If you don't start, you're not ever going to get anywhere. So it's real easy to just start and not stop.
Yes, take that first job given to you and network from there and figure out where you want to be at, because there's so many jobs in the space now, dude. Mitch, listen, dude, we're already there. I feel like we barely started. And they're already giving me like we're good, dog. That's it. That's what we doing. And I appreciate you for hanging out and giving us your time. Mitch Pfeifer, CEO, Respect My Region. respectmyregion.com, the whole North American tour. It started, dude. It started 7/10. It's here.
Hey,
It's here. We're going throughout the rest of the year. Over 200 podcasts, over 500 videos. We're going to review products. We're going to travel the country. We're going to show you the best of the best. We're going to give every region the respect they deserve. Hell yeah. Thank you, dude.
my guy. Appreciate you.
Yes, you already know. Mitch Pfeifer, CEO of Respect My Region. It's the highest host, Adam Mill. This is the Legacy Cannabis Podcast on Respect My Region. We'll see you guys next time. Yeah? Okay, bye.